Oh, we're recording. All right. Kara Whitesell, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. So I think you were listening to the episode that, oh no, I forget how this came about, but I think we do have an episode coming up along this topic that airs on the 10th. But we were talking about, should you show property if there is a verbal accepted offer, or what's kind of like the professional courtesy around that, right?
Right.
You were pretty aggressively angry about this. What?
I wouldn't say angry, but
Well, as angry as you get.
passionate. Yes.
Yes, that's what I like to call my anger too.
I was passionate about my clients and my time.
So tell us like kind of give us a context of this.
Right. So when I work with sellers and we are in the process of accepting an offer, and I have showings scheduled for that day,
Mm-hmm.
I will personally text those agents and say, hey, we're about to accept an offer. Feel free to show it if you want to for a backup, or free feel to cancel it if you want to. And I leave it up to them. It's a choice then, right?
Okay.
And then for anyone who has future showings beyond that, I just send out the mass thing over showing time. But I always try to have a courtesy
That says that we have an accepted
that
contract.
we have something
But
going
that's
on.
not until it's signed, right?
Or if it's sent for signatures, like if it's like we know it's, everyone's in agreement and we send it over and we're just waiting for signatures and there's somebody coming in like an hour or 2 hours or on their way or something, I will just really try to reach out, text message or call and let them know like, hey, this is what's happening. So on the other side of that, when I have buyers, I think that I just have, I guess, I don't know, great expectations that I would get same courtesies. And
Right.
so, just for the sake of this conversation, I had a showing with clients that had 3 kids. They had to pile up in their car.
Right.
I had to get a sitter for my kid. And then whatever drive you have to make to get there, sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 30 minutes or whatever to get where the showing is,
Right.
just to pull up, and they switch it to pending.
Yeah.
Now,
So I think like, okay, so let's talk about it from like all the points of view, right? Because there's never just like one way to look at their thing. There's your way, my way, and the right way, right?
Right.
Okay, so if I see what you're saying. So you're saying like, okay, so let's say you put a house on the market, you get showings, there's like a verbal conversation of like this offer is going to be accepted, and they're like, yes, we accept it, but it's not signed.
Right.
Okay. Do you think, because it's not signed, Kara, and we have all had it where somebody changes their mind before it's signed. So from like a seller's perspective, I would still want the showings to go. But I see from like a buyer's perspective, they would want that information. But I don't, as the seller, I wouldn't want them to cancel it. So like, is there a best practice around maybe, I don't know, like what happens, right?
I think because I can totally get it from that perspective as well. Like it's not done until it's done, right? And you want to have all the options open, and most sellers do want all the options, right? From that perspective, I think it's still just professional courtesy. It comes down to just saying, hey, we have this offer, we're probably going to take it. Up to you. You still want to take your clients through, you want to maybe do a backup if this goes through, whatever the case, but just there's a courtesy because you don't know on the other side of that, like I said, how far these people are coming to see the house, what all they had to do to get there. And especially
it gives them like an option.
Right. And there's been instances where in this market, because it's bananas, right? Where they're getting like 15 grand cash, no inspection, no contingencies, nothing, like, so they know they're going to take this offer. And yet they're just like, oh yeah, let's just let these people come through and waste their time.
Right. I see what you're saying. I think I agree as like a best practice, but I think what the best practice I'm agreeing to is like having a conversation. And this is what we talk about, like all the time on the podcast. It's like, pick up the damn phone and
Right.
like talk to each other, because you're right. It's like, we, as the listing agent, my job is to represent the seller. And as the buyer's agent, your job is to represent the buyer. So we
Right.
should have a conversation, because it could also be like, you know, I could be like, hey, they have verbally accepted. The offer's a little bit shaky, so you're not wasting your time.
Right.
Versus like, this is a cash deal that we've done with these buyers before. Like, it's going, like, they're ready to close. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's situational, right?
For sure. For sure. But like you said, it really does just come down to communication. I can't tell you how many, and these are probably two totally different meetings, but when other agents just say, thank you for answering your phone when I'm a listing agent.
Oh my God.
Or the
You
buyer's
answer your
agent.
phone, Kara? Holy.
Or the buyer's agents that text me back or message me back in showing time and thank me for letting them know. And then they either choose to still go or they cancel it, but they're very grateful that I give them that data. So it just really is.
Because you can also, let's say the worst case happens, right? Like, let's say you do this, you make the calls and the offer doesn't get signed, right?
Right.
You can call those agents back and be like, hey, it didn't get signed.
Yep.
You guys still want to go?
Right.
Worst case scenario, though, they went to the next house and they liked that. But here's the thing, they're probably would have liked that house better anyway.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
But can't you see how some agents would be like, well, maybe if they, I don't know.
I think it's a somebody's gonna hate me for saying this. I think it's a slightly selfish feeling to be like, no, I want to get them all no matter what, you know, like, but to your point, if you tell them that and then they can either come back later and say, hey, that offer didn't go through, do you guys want to go back in? In most cases, they're going to be like, yeah, let's go right now. We'll go right now. Right. Because they wanted to.
Right.
Or they see the next house and they write on it, they wanted the other house anyway, or they wouldn't have wrote on it. Right.
Yeah, so, because I mean, buying a house is an emotional experience. And if they had an emotional connection to that house, it's unlikely that they would have had an emotional connection to your listing, right? That's because it's usually only like one. Because I'm like, I also use this same tactic that you're talking about. Like I had to, you know, get a sitter for my kids and they had to pack up all their kids and like all this. I use that when I'm doing like a listing presentation. And if there's somebody after me, I'm like, look, do you believe that I can sell your home? And they're like, yes. I'm like, okay, just know then I will call the agent and we will cancel that, because they have a whole family they have to take care of. They may have to get a sitter for their kids. They may be skipping dinner. And like putting that realization into the seller when I'm working to get the listing, they're like, oh, okay. And that turns them, like, you don't want to waste their time and yours.
It's exactly that. It's the same conversation I actually have in a buyer consult when I talk about best practices of house hunting. And one of those points is doing drive-bys. Right. And I fully encourage them to do drive-bys and Google Earth and all the research they can before they even ask me for a showing. Right. And I explain to them in that moment, the reason that we want to do that is because if you don't, and then you pull up and you see that the house sits right in front of a train, or there's a cemetery across the street, or both neighbors are scary who shot John looking people, then you're gonna just not even want to go in. And I said, you have to think about from the seller's perspective, when they get a showing request, they have to get all the kids out of the house, get all the pets out of the house. They have to have it spick and span, show ready, clean. Right. And then if we don't even go in, look at all they had to do, and we just drove by and drove off, and that's just not being considerate of their time, your time, or my time to do that. So it's the same conversation on the other side that you have. Just be courteous. Be kind. That's the message here. Be kind.
And answer your phone, right? Those are the 3 rules of real estate. Be nice, don't be a douche, and answer your phone. That's it.
Right.
And honor your word, maybe 4.
That would be
maybe
good.
We should be like, don't be a douche, honor your word, and answer your phone. Those are the 3 rules.
Be kind and open your mouth. Like
exactly. So then with the question of like, okay, should you show should you continue to show if you have a verbally accepted offer? It sounds like our answer is it depends.
Yeah.
The real answer is have a conversation with the other agent to better understand everybody's point of view and to give everybody a choice.
Right. And I think specifically if it's on that day, like if the showings are on that day that
Like,
you're taking
yes.
that offer, right?
Not
If it's
the other days,
tomorrow
it's
or
only
yeah.
like the ones that are like within an hour, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at that point they're already getting ready to go and they're doing all they have to do to get there, and then you pull up and it's like marked pending. Now come on, by the time you mark it pending in MLS, that thing's been signed already for
Exactly.
1 to 10 hours, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you're not just getting like as soon as you get it signed and going to MLS like ping most of the time. I mean, maybe somebody is,
But yeah, no, I don't know.
right.
But no, that's good. I'm glad you brought this up because we actually did already film a What Would You Do episode with Rachel Real
Nice.
and it airs on the 6th of October. And it's about the disclosure of accepted offers. So, and you know, those What Would You Do is when people get in trouble.
Right.
Maybe instead of like what we think people should do, we should tune in and find out what you're actually supposed to do.
That would be good.
Well, Kara, I really appreciate you being on. That's Kara Whitesell with ERA. Yay. And what if people want to get a hold of you, if they have a referral for you? I know you serve Cincinnati. Do you serve any other market?
Butler County, Warren County, Hamilton County, pretty much are my main areas. Okay. Of course, you know, call me if you have anything. I know people everywhere.
What's your number?
513-888-8225. Carry your realtor on everything. So find me, friend me, follow me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on, Kara.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
See ya.